What's going on, everyone? Is the Derv, and in today's video we're going to be going through one of my favorite roles of the Solipsism Exotic Warlock Bond. In this video we're going to be going through Spirit of Inmost Light paired with Spirit of Harmony, so you'll get the best of both worlds. You'll get super spam and ability spam and regen. And let me tell you, this is one of the easiest to spec into roles of the Solipsism Warlock Bond. And the reason for that is you can pair it with virtually any element of your choosing in your super. So if you guys do like this build, you like the video, you like being able to spam your super and your abilities, and you want to see other elements and other weapons for variety, let me know in the comments. Hopefully you guys like the video, because this one arguably is probably the most fun out of all the roles you can get for Solipsism. So let's get it going. Solipsism Prismatic Warlock build. Our super choice for this round is going to be Nova Bomb Cataclysm. Now, quick caveat, if you guys want to see different elements featured for the outfit of this role of Solipsism, which I went over in the beginning intro video, let me know in the comments and let me know which elements you'd like me to feature. I've got different builds for each one of these elements, and I can put those out in future videos if you guys want some variety as you're going through the rest of Renegades here. So just let me know in the comments which elements, if any, you guys want to see. If not, no big deal. Appreciate you watching this video regardless, no matter what. So anyways, for this iteration, Nova Bomb Cataclysm is going to be our super. Hurl an explosive bolt of void light at target, disintegrating those caught within its blast. Nova Bomb travels slowly and seeks targets. Detonations shatter into smaller sequel projectiles. Now, while Nova Bomb is not the most powerful super you can use in the Prismatic Warlock class, it still is very much viable and very useful in a variety of situations. So whether you're dealing with bosses from a distance, aerial bosses, Nova Bomb Cataclysm absolutely has you covered. For abilities, we're going to go with Phoenix Dive because of its quick cooldown. We're going to go with Arcane Needle because you can stack it 3 times, and we're going to be using it with one of our aspects. And the grenade doesn't really matter. I like the Threadling Grenade. I'm not looking to get max damage with this. I'm going to be spamming more of the melee builds, or the melee part of this build, and I'm going to be using my grenade mainly to get additional transcendence energy. So for me personally, I want a darkness energy grenade. So it's either the Threadling Grenade for me or the Cold Snap Grenade. Now, you can make an argument for putting on like Healing Grenade or any of these other two, but I want to be able to build up my Transcendence bar while I'm doing everything else. The easiest way to do that is to equip a Darkness ability, and Threadling Grenade at least gets more damage than the Cold Snap Grenade, and quite honestly, it's more reliable because the Cold Snap doesn't always track very well. For aspects, first up is going to be Lightning Surge. While sliding, activate your charge melee ability to blink forward, calling down lightning strikes that jolt targets as you rematerialize. Targets that are hit by your lightning strikes grant you stacks of bolt charge. You also will become amplified when using Lightning Surge, so you'll be able to move around the battlefield a lot quicker. You'll have more of an aggressive yet militant type of in and out, which I've always loved. It's just because of the Praxic Blade this season, I've kind of dipped away from all gun builds. So I'm kind of excited to be able to have an excuse to throw this on, because it's something different. Well, not different. It's not like this has been reinvented, but it's still plenty fun, plenty strong. And using Lightning Surge is going to grant you ability energy back, which we'll get into here in a minute. Next up is going to be Feed the Void. Defeat a target with any ability to activate Devour. Final blows restore health, grant grenade energy, and extend Devour. Your Devour effects are improved, restoring additional health and grenade energy. So anytime you proc Devour, you're going to get grenade energy back, which means you can spam it more often. True, you can't stack it 3 times, but Feed the Void, you're really never going to be hurting for your grenade, which means you can easily max out your Transcendence bar without a whole lot of effort. For Fragments, first up on the list is Facet of Purpose. Picking up an Orb of Power is going to grant us an Overshield because our equipped super is, of course, the Nova Bomb. Next up is going to be Facet of Sacrifice. When you have an Arc, Solar, or Void buff, ability Final Blows grant bonus Darkness Transcendence energy. I want to be able to proc Transcendence as often as possible. It's kind of one of the parts of the gameplay loop that you can benefit from with running this role of Solipsism. You can go Transcendent either before or after your super is exhausted. I prefer after so that I can start proccing it back even sooner. Remember, the more kills you get while you're Transcendent, the slower the cooldown goes. So theoretically, if you play it right, you could generate your super again before your Transcendence is even over and still take full advantage of all your abilities while you're Transcendent. It's an interesting loop that I regularly used in seasons past when Solipsism first came out. Next up is going to be Facet of Awakening. Rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows generates an elemental pickup of the matching damage type. You will be able to generate ionic traces, void breaches, stasis shards, and the occasional tangle with this build. So plus 10 to health, and you get a variety of elemental pickups on top of it. Next up is going to be Facet of Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. While Transcendent, the effect is increased. Another plus 10 to melee, so I'm going to take that. Remember, because we're going to be using our Lightning Surge and we're going to be spamming it, having Facet of Protection is kind of a no-brainer. So the effect is actually increased when you go out of your super into Transcendence and then start using your Lightning Surge to get quick ability kills to continue proccing Devour as you're using your weapons intermittently. Last but not least, Facet of Balance. Rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy. Rapidly defeating targets with darkness damage grants grenade energy. Now, if you don't believe me, you can go into whatever your favorite low-key strike is, put it on the easiest difficulty, and go start spamming Lightning Surge and watch your melee regen come back to you. Now, you still have to do the rotation with our, first perk of our Solipsism. You can't just continuously spam Lightning Surge without activating your other abilities in between occasionally. But you will be getting melee energy back pretty rapidly depending on how many enemies you kill. For armor stats, I recommend speccing into melee, weapons, grenade, and super. Now, if you wanted to build into this truly specific, I prefer to have a little bit higher for melee and grenade, just so you get some extra damage. Your super is not necessarily important to get as high over 100 as possible. And with weapons, because we're going to be using some already strong weapons, it's not imperative that you have your weapons at 150 or above. In fact, you can make an argument that from 100 to 100 to about 125, 130, the difference is essentially negligible in the bonus damage you do anyways, so it's not even worth it. So put your, these three, the melee, the grenade, and the super are the ones you want to spec into. Get your weapons to 100 or slightly over, and you'll be fine. Speaking of weapons, first up is going to be in the Kinetic slot, something. Now, the reason why I have a sniper rifle in this slot is because I need something to pierce barrier champs. I also like being able to pick enemies off from a distance, and any enemy any time you're doing kinetic weapon damage, you get both light energy and darkness energy into your transcendence bar. No, it's not going to shoot up like crazy, but something is essentially the new age version of, I believe it was the Last Wish raid. Man, while I'm thinking about it, let's just go find it out here. There is it Succession that I'm thinking of? Which one am I thinking of? I apologize. This isn't what I was initially planning on doing, but you guys understand. Now that I said it, I gotta show what I'm talking about. Man, which one? Here we go. Yeah, the Supremacy, not Succession. So the Supremacy was the old version of what this weapon is now. You can see I had this one rolled with Rewind and Kinetic Tremors. However, something can roll with Snapshot. It can roll with Bewildering Burst. Of course, Kinetic Tremors. I think it's still 2 rounds that procs Kinetic Tremors just about every time. and it's a higher impact, higher range sniper rifle than the other one. So you get a little bit extra oomph with this, which is an excellent. I mean, this is an excellent weapon to use. If you haven't messed around with something, it's definitely worth your time and effort to, um, you know, spec into and get used to using. Backup mag. Of course, you can put calm amidst chaos. It's up to you. I don't like that the magazine is so low, but I mean, I'm only dumping a couple of rounds and then I'm switching back to my other weapons. So something in the kinetic slot. In the energy slot, good old Graviton Lance. I've got a measly 61,700 kills with this, so I guess I like it a little bit. But Graviton Lance, anytime I get an excuse to throw on Graviton Lance, I'm going to do it. And Graviton Lance is the #1 void killing weapon, on the face of the planet. And since we need void weapon kills to get our super back as fast as possible, Graviton Lance takes the cake. And also because it's a pulse rifle, it does stun overload champs. In the heavy slot, you guys can run whatever you want. I particularly like submersion. My role that I really like is auto-loading holster and chill clip. You can also run, if you want to keep it void specific, you can run a good shout. Withering gaze and elemental honing, I believe, is the one that, or not. Oh my goodness, someone can get in the comments and let me know. I'm blanking on what the best role is for this. I really like demoralize and withering gaze with charge bolts or heavy bolts. It's totally up to you how you want to run it, though. All right, so this role of Solipsism, Spirit of Inmost Light and Spirit of Harmony, one of my favorite Solipsism roles. One of the ones that I chased for quite a while. I was able to get everything but Harmony to pair with Spirit of Inmost Light once I saw this was a possibility. But Spirit of Inmost Light, using an ability, empowers the other two abilities, granting them improved energy regeneration. It's true. It's not like this lasts for 30 seconds. You use an ability, you get a few seconds of additional ability regen on the others. But again, if you're picking up your orbs of power, you're going to feel like the ability regen is noticeably better when you're running this intrinsic on Solipsism. And then our Spirit of Harmony, final blows with weapons that have a damage type matching your super's element, grant you super energy. Again, this is why using Nova Bomb and Graviton just go hand in hand. Graviton will get you the most void kills possible, and it is the easiest to manage out of any void weapon that you could possibly pick in its place. Even better than anything with destabilizing rounds. But these two intrinsics right here are really fun to play around with. So I mentioned this when I was talking about the super, but if you guys want me to go through other elements, you guys really like these intrinsic roles on this role of Solipsism, I'm more than happy to do that. So just letting you guys know again, if that's something you guys want to see, let me know in the comments which elements you would prefer me to go through, if any. Otherwise, no big deal. I appreciate, obviously, you guys making it this far in the video. As far as the rest of the armor goes, go ahead and spec into whatever general armor mod that you need. For the helmet, it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. You can go heavy ammo finder, special ammo finder, harmonic siphon, because you are using heavy ammo and special ammo. You can also make a case to drop the heavy ammo and put on, hands-on mod. Again, we don't need hands-on because we got Graviton, but that's just something food for thought. In the for the gauntlets, go ahead and put on heavy-handed ×3 because we're not going to be relying on our grenade to get us our orbs of power anyways. In the chest armor, make sure you put on one of each elemental resistance that you see here. For the legs, go ahead and put on double absolution and put on a better already. Anyone that says recuperation is better than better already is absolutely cooked. I know you didn't hear it here first, but you heard me say the word cooked for the first time in pretty much all my videos. So, milestone there. For the class item, make sure you put on outreach because, again, we want our melee energy to come back as fast as possible and be able to use it faster. Reaper is also necessity here because we're going to be using our Phoenix dive from time to time, and it's just because we're going to be using our weapons, you will take advantage of Reaper more often than some of the other builds. Also, put on your class font. The reason for this is we're actually going to get more than 3 armor charge possibilities because of our artifacts. So make sure you have your class font on because we have a void super equipped, and I'll go over that with the artifact. But one orb pickup with your class font activated boosts your class stat by 20. So if you're running your class stat at a really high 6, like what I've got, one orb of power puts me at 26, and of course, more than one orb of power makes it, better. For the artifact, I recommend speccing into Anti-Barrier Sniper, Overload Pulse, and of course, Unstoppable Bow. In the second column, go ahead and put on Elemental Siphon so you get elemental pickups. Put on Expert Handling, Weapon Final Blows. They grant a stacking bonus to stability, which resets on weapon reload or stow. So with Graviton, you take one shot at a bunch of adds, all of a sudden you've got some insane stability, and you don't have to keep shooting at the adds to keep Graviton going. So the benefits just keep going. Gravitic Voltaic Charge is something that you want to equip when you have a Void Super because you increase the maximum number of stacks of armor charges you can carry by 1, which means you're going to get that class ability back even faster, even if you're at a measly single-digit number like what I'm at. I also like to run Impact, Shock, and Gravity. Grants the Kinetic Void Siphon into 1 mod. In the third column, there's not a lot we can take advantage of with this build, but we can put on Reload at Range. Precision hits with bows and sniper rifles grant a stacking bonus to their reload speed, which is also why I say run a bow in your heavy slot. No, you can't put out huge, high DPS per second numbers. These are single shot weapons. I get that. But you can get stacking bonus to the reload speed. And then if we come over here to the fifth column, because of course I'm going to, skip the fourth column because somehow that makes sense in my mind. Sniper rifle hits grant stacking sniper rifle damage, stability, and reload bonuses for a short time. Heavy ammo sniper rifle hits count as more than one hit. So you could interchange this sniper's meditation and reload at range. So if you wanted to switch things up and put the new sniper in the heavy slot and you wanted to put just a regular bow in the kinetic slot, you will benefit even more from sniper's meditation and reload at range. So last but not least, of course, because logically that makes sense, counter energy in the fourth column. When you're a member of your fire team stun a champion, you gain energy for your least charge ability. This is important because we want all the ability energy back that we can possibly get. And chances are you're going to have full class ability energy since we're not running a rift. So do the math. Armor Smith is also necessary. Breaking a combatant shield temporarily grants you increased damage resistance and melee damage. Again, why we want to spam our Lightning Surge. And then, of course, we want to equip Dielectric. Defeating arc debuff targets grants Bolt Charge. Rapidly defeating arc debuff targets spawns an Orb of Power and heals a small portion of health. So Dielectric coming in clutch here as the final bragging point for this Solipsism build. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you guys want to see other elements featured with this role of Solipsism. If there are other roles of Solipsism, I know Solipsism isn't talked about in a lot of the videos. Now it's all Praxic Blade builds. It's, the newer armor that people are talking about. It's different things you can do with grenades now that, grenades are insanely powerful. But let me know. But this build works pretty flawlessly simply because of the ease of use. You don't have to do anything to get your super back except kill enemies with your Graviton Lance. And you've got a way to stun all 3 champs with this build. You've also got a way to generate huge amounts of ability energy back without very much effort. You chuck your whatever ability out there, Lightning Surge, Arcane Needle, Grenade, your class ability, your other 2 are regenerating faster than they would be ordinarily. And because you are maxing your armor stats at least at 100 for your abilities that matter most, that's going to translate to, and I'll just go over here, you got 1 minute cooldown on your melee at 100. So do the math. You got increased ability regen. Let's say you get, you're going to see it go up, not counting the facet of balance, stacking with it, not counting dielectric bonus damage with it. So it's a win-win. And then, of course, with the grenades, same thing, 56-second cooldown. You get a little bit of extra damage to the combatants that you use it on. Again, I'm using this to be able to spam my transcendence more often. So, it works. And then of course your super, just get it over 100. Doesn't have to be super high unless you really want. But this build allows you to use all your abilities if you're one of those that likes to cycle through your abilities, and they all have purpose. And when you use them all in rotation, they benefit and constantly reproc. And that's why this build works just so well. You know, if you guys have ever messed around with this roll of Solipsism, you already know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, this is your sign. So anyways, if you guys did find anything helpful in the video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you know a guardian out there who is looking for a good Solipsism roll to chase after, maybe they don't have this roll, or maybe they're just wondering how to use Solipsism in Renegades, feel free to share this video with them or send them my way. My goal, of course, is to help as many people as possible. As always, I will have a dim link in the video description, and if by chance you guys are looking for a non-toxic gaming community, I highly recommend jumping into my Discord. There are people in there, yes, that are still doing, help runs for getting the exotic class item in the Pale Heart. So if you're one of those that's looking for a community that might help you be able to get that, feel free to hop into my Discord and send out an SOS. Someone, I'm sure, will be able to help you within a reasonable amount of time. So anyways, I'm going to switch over to some more build highlights, some more gameplay footage, and we will wrap it up. One thing I want to say before I talk about the gameplay loop is before you guys get too rough with me in the comments about where you see this build test being done, this is sort of a nostalgia play here as what you're seeing. Altars of Sorrow used to be where I tested a lot of builds when I first got started on the channel. So longtime fans of the channel, you know it's been probably months, maybe even longer, since I've done a build test demonstration in Altars of Sorrows, but it's still one of the easiest ones to check out your ideas and see if they even make sense before taking it into harder content. And I can promise you, this roll of Solipsism absolutely does slap in harder content, so don't even worry about that. That's kind of why I brought it in here, because this just is, it's a really fun build to use, and anytime that you get to do super spams and ability spams and have insane regen, going into a place like Sorrow's Harbor or Grasp of Avarice or even Dares of Eternity just makes it all the more sweet to just kind of reminisce of what used to be, because now obviously Altars of Sorrows doesn't really mean anything unless you're a new light. So going back to some OG areas to test out your builds is fun for me. But anyways, so the gameplay loop is pretty simple. Activate whatever ability you want, switch to another ability, and then get a bunch of kills with your Graviton Lance and enjoy your supers in as little as 60 seconds, sometimes even as little as 30 seconds. This roll of Solipsism was sought after pretty darn hard when Final Shape was released, because remember, we used to have the Dealer's Choice weapons that I'm really hoping somehow, some way get featured in the future, where you could stack on top of Spirit of Harmony and get additional super energy back just by getting kills with any of the Dealer's Choice weapons. And that's kind of what made me think of, Solipsism this time around, is I was trying to think of ways to be able to spam the best of both worlds. And I was like, oh, that's right, I remember we used to love this roll, and it still absolutely kicks the teeth in of virtually any enemies that you come in contact with. You can see on the lower left-hand side of the screen, even though I'm playing the objective, I'm not having any, want or need for extra ability regen. I'm cycling through the abilities. I'm using my Lightning Surge. I'm throwing my grenade out. I'm cycling through my weapons, and it's doing just fine. And in harder content, which yes, I have tested it out in harder content, don't worry, it absolutely functions the same. So hopefully you guys like the video. Let me know in the comments again if you want me to go through other elements with this specific roll. If you want me to do a strand or a solar or stasis or arc or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm happy to help. My goal is always to help as many people as possible. Hopefully help make the game more fun for everyone. And I appreciate you guys sticking with me through this one. This one was a fun one. I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys always for your support. Take care.